68, though.
Okay, welcome in to episode 61 of The Unusual Suspects. My name's Rob Gargiulo. Joining me today, our cast. Before you tune out, Vinnie will be on with us in just a minute. I know that's you were like literally like, oh nope, I'm gonna unsubscribe and not watch anymore. He will be here in just a second, so do not leave. Welcome to the podcast, episode 61. We're joined by our usual suspects. To my left, we have Humberto and Brandon, and to my right, we have Shane and Connor, the writing duo at VT.com. We have a bunch of great stories to get to today. Biden is a mess. It's on display for the entire world, and we watched it all happen yesterday between press conferences with Nato, his own big boy press conference. We will cover both of those, as well as a report from the Daily Mail. This is a report from a top Biden aide who spoke to the Daily Mail on a condition of anonymity, where they explain exactly how Biden's aides covered up his cognitive decline from the American public. We will get into that. Connor has a match made in hell for you. The unholy pairing of George Soros' son, Alex Soros, and Huma Abedin, the former Hillary Clinton aide and former Mrs. Weiner, married to convicted pedophile Anthony Weiner, former guest of the podcast.
We got all the best names involved in this one.
Brandon will be jumping into U.S. military weapons.
Oh, it's bad.
Okay, great. That sounds terrifying. And then, of course, we'll also get into Vinnie has something on the SAVE Act. But first, if you have not subscribed and joined or downloaded the app, I don't know why I said subscribe. You can like and subscribe for the channel. Great, do that right now. But what I'm trying to get you to do is to download the Minect app and join the Minect League competitions underway right now. Your chance to meet Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson at the Vault 2024. There's Vinnie's Minect right there. You can scan his QR code and connect with him. There is me. If you have any topics for the podcast, any guests you think be good for PBD podcast, or you have questions about podcasting or SEO, hit me up. There's my QR code. There's Humberto. I don't know what he just gave me finger guns. So yes, if you want to know how to do finger guns, pew pew, the proper way, then you scan Humberto's QR code. Connor on Minect as well. So if you have any stories or tips that you think would be good for VT.com, hit up Connor. Also on Minect is Brandon Aceto, future president of the United States of America come 2036, and he's also going to donate his sperm. We learned that on the last podcast. If you missed it, go back and watch that one. And Kelly, she has her own microphone today, too. Kelly, say hi to the audience.
Hi, audience.
Look at that. Kelly is on Minect
Finally.
as well.
Oh, my God.
So, Vinnie, Minect, she is on, but she's also on the podcast as well. There's the QR code. Scan it today and join Minect now to be a part of the Minect League Championships. Again, your chance to win a meet and greet with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, became one of the biggest Hollywood icons of the 20th century. He's a businessman, he's a mogul, and I gotta be honest, I'm a wrestling dork, so I am super excited to meet him. I'm actually hoping to win the contest just so I can meet The Rock. So help me out by connecting with me, and help yourself out by connecting with others. Your chance to meet The Rock this September at the Vault 2020 conference. Let's get into somebody who makes 0 cents every time he speaks, and that is unfortunately the leader of the free world, our president of the United States, Joseph Robinette Biden, and his terrible press conference yesterday. Vinnie, from a remote, undisclosed location, joining us virtually. Vinnie, what do you have on Biden's press conference yesterday?
Well, Rob, first of all, hi, everybody. I'm over here in New York. I'm away, undisclosed location. But just before we even get into it, I just want to say how unbelievably ridiculous you and these extreme MAGA Republicans that you're sitting with. What we saw last night is obvious. They were all cheap fakes. These were all done in real time. They're all fake videos. None of this is real. You're all lying. Joe Biden is one of the best people, one of the best presidents. He's, great family man, great father. Everything that you guys saw was BS. It was all cheap fakes, as Karine Jean-Pierre and everybody, all the hacks on the left do. I mean, guys, they were warning us, not warning us, but they're letting us know this big boy, and they said it with this big boy press conference, and he was bragging how he was going to come to NATO and kick ass. It was one of the most embarrassing moments, besides the debate is gone. This is the most embarrassing moment. And on the world stage for NATO, for Christ's sake. And the first video I'm going to have Kelly play you, this guy is announcing President Zelenskyy and accidentally calls him President Putin, and the room didn't know what the hell to do. Kelly, please play the video.
And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin.
Look at his face.
He's going to beat President Putin.
Who's going to beat President Putin?
What a complete show. What a disaster. What he really walked away till somebody was like, no, wrong guy. This dude, this just goes to prove every single one of our predictions, our points. The guy has lost his mind. He has Parkinson's with late term, whatever the hell you want to call dementia. And for everybody out there that saw it, that was just the first of men. Dude, I couldn't even count how many times he stopped and went, anyway, just completely brain fart. And then there's another video of him calling his vice president, Kamala Harris, Vice President Trump. Kelly, can you play that video?
Vice President Harris's ability to beat Donald Trump if she were at the top of the ticket.
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president.
Unbelievable.
Like, what? Dude, unbelievable. Guys, we have to stop saying that, Brandon. Guys, we have to stop saying unbelievable because it's actually believable. The guy has lost his freaking mind.
It makes us look dumb. We look dumb saying unbelievable.
Well, you know, back in like the early 1800s, when there was a presidential election, the runner-up would become the vice president. And since Biden was approximately born sometime in the early 1800s, he might just be reflecting on what he experienced as a kid. So, you know, we've got to extend him that courtesy at the very least.
That's going to be Kareen's excuse tomorrow. Yeah. In addition to, he had a cold and he has a stutter.
Maybe he's jet lagged from the NATO conference that he spoke at. The NATO conference was in Washington, D.C., so that can't possibly be an option. Also, have you ever heard of anybody being jet lagged 3 weeks later? That's a weird thing that they were. That was the weirdest spin of them all so far. The cold I get. He's elderly. But to say the guy's jet lagged from coming back from Europe a week and a half before the debate, and then he had an entire week at Camp David to rehearse and nap. And Vinnie, if you actually read his schedule during the Camp David rehearsals prior to the debate, they talk about how he'd wake up late, he'd roll in at 10 o'clock, he'd have to take a mid-afternoon nap, and then the rest of the day was preparing for the debate. At what part of that day is him governing? What part of that is it in between the naps? Is it in between preparing for a debate where you're going to get stomped to death at?
You should have seen the look on like John Kirby's face this week when I love how CNN, the knives are out now and they're going after the administration. They're like, yeah, so what actually happens if you got a 3 a.m. phone call about, some like nuclear war breaking out across the world? Do you wake Biden up? Or he's like, oh no, we have people and measures in place to handle that. So yeah, he's not capable of receiving a 3 a.m. phone call.
Yeah, he brought that up last night. He was like, they were like, so is it true that you have a 8 p.m. bedtime? He's like, no, I just like to end events around 8 p.m. so we can all, be out the door. I don't have a bedtime. Dude, it was so humiliating having to defend himself in front of waves of reporters just grilling him.
It's like a sacrificial. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It is a sacrificial lamb. I mean, like all things said last night, the speech was absolutely terrible. The Q&A, he was on some good drugs because he was able to roll through it, but it's too little too late. And he's been terrible he hasn't been before the people in months. The last time I think you said was November.
Yeah, his last solo presser was November 2023 when he stood up and answered questions by himself.
And that's not coincidence.
Trump and Obama were doing that like every single week, multiple times a week through their presidencies. So this is not normal.
Trump loved it. He couldn't live without it. I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence that's his first time in so long speaking. I mean, they put him in the situation to, put even more pressure on him. 'Cause, I think the only people that are still hanging on, obviously Jill and Hunter, but his administration, because they're hanging on for their jobs. Everybody else in the world, the liberal media and the establishment is in the camp of wanting to get him out.
I agree with you.
I love it, and I love the.
Sorry.
Go ahead,
no, I agree with you that he started catching steam after on the Q&A. Hey, buddy, how about starting strong?
Yeah.
And comparing it to the speech that President Trump did Wednesday, it's some other thing. You know, the guy was on hour 3 just dropping jokes, talking about bacon.
It's a machine.
Like, you know when he puts his elbow on the podium and starts looking to one side that he's gonna come up with something funny.
Yeah.
He did double elbows. He was side to side. Everyone was going wild. I know, double elbows. I don't know where they're parading this guy. I mean, okay, he's a despicable human being. He's been a despicable human being for a long time, like Biden.
Yeah, you need to clarify.
Yeah,
He rolled right into that, and I'm like, wait a minute, double elbows to despicable human being.
Yeah, what?
Okay, sorry. Trump, one of my favorites.
Sick.
Biden, a sick human being, racist. And
Sure is.
And the thing is that this guy, like, they're parading him. That's my theory. They're literally parading him until he breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were protecting him before this, but this is what the difference of having the establishment at your back versus going against you. I mean, you know, they did everything in their power to protect him and Hunter and the whole family, their reputation before this, but now all that wind is going against them. And I think it's like, you know, less than a month before he breaks.
Here's the thing, guys. Do you think that if somehow Biden miraculously recovers and they get the new bath salts in the mail or whatever, will the media be able to walk back all the things that they just said about him the last week?
Yeah.
Or have they completely crossed that Rubicon and now they have to replace Biden?
No, I think they're totally shameless. I think they would walk it back in a second if some miracle happened. But if you look at footage of him from 2019, like, I mean, the 2012 stuff, he was actually a really good speaker. But even 2019, it's night and day. So this is like increasing at an exponential rate, his like lack of presence and competence. So.
Well, it's called cognitive decline, not cognitive incline.
It's like
so it's only going to get worse for him, whatever it is, whether it's Parkinson's, whether it's dementia, Alzheimer's, whatever is going on, it's not going to get better. There's no amount of, and at this point, the standard for success for the president should not be if he can stand up in front of an audience for 40 minutes once every 9 months and speak somewhat coherently.
Right.
It should be the economy. It should be international relations. It should be domestic relations. All of those are chaotic right now and in a mess. And then on top of that, this guy gets up, and Vinnie, you had mentioned it. He gets up there, and multiple times during last night's press conference for 40 minutes where he stumbles and calls people the wrong names and doesn't want to give out exact numbers because he accuses the press of misquoting him. He gets up there, loses his train of thought, and then multiple times I noticed, and you mentioned it, he said, and whatever, or and
Anyway.
Yes. Like when he would lose his train of thought, Vinny, it felt like he would end it with and anyway, and then he would just shift on to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dude, and look, and by the way, Kelly's about to play this video. This is a reporter asking him in point blank from another country. He's like, dude, this is the world stage. All these leaders are here. They're seeing you stumble and whatever. Aren't you worried about that? Like, Kelly, play that video, please.
You referred to Vice President Harris as Vice President Trump. Right now, Donald Trump is using that to mock your age and your memory. How do you combat that criticism from tonight?
Listen to him.
This concludes tonight's press conference. Thank you, everybody.
What the hell was that? And then, Kelly, the big boy got wrecked. This is the reporter, another reporter asking him about all the guests and how he's looking horrible, and all the leaders are noticing his decline. And listen to his answer.
Sort of your key allies, including the British Prime Minister, the President of France, the German Chancellor, having to step in and make excuses for you on that. And officials here are saying off the record that your decline has become noticeable. Hasn't this now, frankly, become damaging for America's standing in the world? Thank you.
Did you see any damage to our standing by leading this conference? Have you seen a more successful conference? What do you think? And the Putin piece, I was talking about Putin, and I said, and now, at the very end, I said, Putin. I said, no, I'm sorry, Zelenskyy.
Oh, boy.
And then I added 5 other names. Look, guys.
Look.
The idea, anybody suggests that we haven't had an incredibly successful conference. How many times did you hear in that conference, I know it sounds too self-serving, but other leaders, heads of state, in thanking me, saying the reason we're together is because of Biden. Because Biden did the following. Look, folks, this is
Look.
Well,
Brain
anyway,
fart.
Lost again.
Brain
I thought it was the most successful conference I've attended in a long time.
By the way, unbelievable. And I sent Kelly, Kelly, you there? I want to hear your beautiful voice.
Hi, my love.
Okay, I love it. Kelly, do you have the blinking one too? And I'll lead us into it.
I have the whisper one.
Okay, let's. Oh yeah. Okay. So by the way, this. Okay. So this video is just of him. By the way, I actually love it because he gets really angry because that's what people with Parkinson's and dementia do, and then he whispers like he's in the bedroom, and it's really creepy. Kelly, play that one.
You earlier explained confidence in your vice president.
Yes.
If your team came back and showed you data that she would fare better against former President Donald Trump, would you reconsider your decision to stay in the race?
No, unless they came back and said, there's no way you can win. Me.
Jesus Christ.
No one's saying that. No poll says that. Okay. Thanks.
This ends tonight's press conference. Thanks, everybody.
That's the final words many children heard right before they heard as he sniffed their hair and touched them inappropriately.
Okay, guys. So as we know, he's not making any decisions. Okay, let's be completely honest with you guys. That's the reason they kept him in the basement. That's the reason he barely can speak. He has to have note cards in his hand that tell him who's who, where to look, when to sit, what questions are going to be asked. Dude, this is just 100% proof that the president of the United States is making zero decisions, and this proves that Donald Trump is the man because he came in there and he doesn't ever say they or them, and that's why they tried to freaking oust his ass, impeach his ass, Russia collusion his ass, put him in jail, all these convictions, is because he doesn't need them. I hope the left, and if you are listening, you weak-minded, brainwashed sheep, can't stop doing this. I love my party and I love the Democrat. Move on from that crap and just see it. Donald Trump is just like the first stake in the ground. You know what I mean? He's the first one to show you idiots that it's not voting, it's not left, it's not right. Okay, it's them against us. And guys, I want to ask you guys all a question, and I'll start with you, Rob. Who is the person that is actually making the decisions right now? If you had to guess, is it a faceless person that just wears a lanyard and walks around the White House, or is it someone that we know?
What did you just say? Sorry, somebody whispered something off camera and it caught my attention.
I said, if you had to guess, who is actually running the show? Because it's not a conglomerate. It's one person that says you're doing this, you're signing this, you're going here, give this money to Zelenskyy, do this, start this war. Who is the number one person? Is it a faceless person that we don't know? Or is it an actual Obama, Hillary? Who's the main person?
I think you hit the nail on the head with the first name that you mentioned, and we'll get into this in just a few minutes. But for my guess, George Clooney doesn't go out and write an op-ed piece for the New York Times after just hosting a fundraiser with Obama for Biden in LA, raising $30 million just a week before the debate. That guy doesn't do that and then go write an op-ed piece 2 weeks after the debate calling for the president to step down unless he's getting that permission from Obama to do so. So for me, I am thinking that behind the scenes, Obama is pulling the strings. Is he dictating policy? I don't know. I don't know if he's dictating policy or if he's dictating the downfall of Joe Biden, but he's definitely involved. Humberto.
Well, Rob,
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, Rob. But no, Rob, don't apologize. But Rob, remember that interview he did on Kimmel or whoever, where he says, if there was a way for me to be in the basement and just, have an earpiece and give he said what he would love to do. And he's doing it. When he came to the White House that time, everybody, he's electrifying. Everybody's around him. And Joe Biden was walking around him like a 4-year-old trying to get attention from their father. Bro, I've had some wild next this week since I've been here. And some people are talking about Obama being the Antichrist. I'm talking about multiple Minex, and people are paying me money out of their pocket to tell me that Obama has been bred and put, and he dates trans, he sleeps with gay men. Dude, everything that you want to hear. And they even mentioned the fact that Tucker interviewed Larry Sinclair on purpose so Michelle doesn't even poke her head out and try to run, because the moment she does, they're going to reel this guy out again and be like, this guy says he had sex with your husband and did crack cocaine in a limo, which I think is brilliant on Tucker's end. But yeah, bro, I wouldn't put it past Obama. He's been groomed and bred to be this person, and I think I think you nailed it, Rob. I think he's the guy calling the shots. And guys, before we go, because I know we have a bunch of stories, Kelly has one more video. Did you guys see Tony Blinken's reaction when Biden called Vice President Kamala Vice President Trump? Did you guys see it? I have a spoof. I have him doing it last night, and then I have the old one when he called Xi Jinping a dictator. I'm gonna have Kelly play it right now.
I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. So let's start there.
Look at the whole row.
Number one. The fact is that the consideration is...
Mr. President, after today, would you still refer to President Xi as a dictator? This is a term that you used earlier this year.
Well, look, he is. I mean, he's a dictator in the sense that he is the guy who runs a country that is a communist country that faces...
Dude, it's just a wince.
And by the way, Robbie, that guy too. That guy has a lot of power too, bro. Him and John Kirby. Because remember, he was on the airplane and he has that ball chin. His ball sack was on his chin, and he's there and he's lost. They're looking at him like shocked of what he's gonna say next, bro. It's sad, but guys, I'm so happy that it's a wake up call to everybody that the reason Donald Trump is such a threat. Because he doesn't need any of those Obamas or Hillarys or anybody behind the scenes. He's his own man. He's a boss, and that's why they've been trying to destroy him. But God willing, bro, this guy squeaks through all this madness and he wins, bro, in 2024.
My mom, Vinnie, has been saying that Obama is the Antichrist since 2008. So if you're getting any Minex from Asil Gargiulo, just let me know.
That's her. Your mom just sent me $200.
The Antichrist is supposed to be popular from everybody, though.
He was at one point.
Half the people.
No, if you weren't alive in 2008, how old were you in 2000? I'm serious. How old were you in 2008?
13.
Okay. How old were you guys in 2008?
About the same, yeah.
Okay.
I was 11.
Yeah.
People who didn't like him were just afraid to be called racist if they said they didn't like him.
I was 19, 20, and it was like, it really felt like the second coming of Jesus when Obama was being run.
But you
he
voted
was
for
hope,
Biden.
not just me. Yeah, I get it. I was fucking
No,
propaganda.
Rob, you were right. You were right. He's right.
But it really was. I mean, like Oprah was behind him. He'd be on every channel. Even Republicans, they were like, well, he's not that bad. He's not Mitt Romney. We love Mitt Romney, but he's not that bad. There was not this hatred towards him like there is today from the right. So I feel like in 2008, there was that love for him. So when you say that, like, the Antichrist is loved by all, well, he kind of was in 2008. 2012, when he starts drone striking kids and people have seen what he's up to for the past 4 years.
And worst of all, wearing a tan suit to a press
That's when
conference.
it wears off, yes. But, I mean, when he came out and he said Trayvon Martin, that could have been my kid. That's what started inciting violence, was comments like that. That could be my son. That a young black man that looks just like what my son would look like walking through those streets being murdered by a white supremacist who turned out to be like a Mexican wannabe cop, not even a white supremacist. But, like, that's when it turned for him. But the first 4 years of his administration, he was beloved. So is Obama the Antichrist? I'm going to connect with Vinnie to tell him I agree.
Yeah, well, but Rob, you nailed it. But do you remember that era? Like, it was as if this guy was the second coming, bro. Women were crying, dude, bawling. Not like the liberal when Trump won, but I mean, like, he's gonna pay for my rent. He's gonna pay for. Dude, they duped yes, we can. Yes, he stole, bro. That guy stole Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. Dude, that guy is such a farce. Obama, he's a crappy president as well, bro. I'm just tired that. I'm happy that we don't have to see him, but I'm tired that he keeps having to pop up and prop up and we have to see him. But dude, I'm hoping, I'm praying. I prayed this morning, bro. 2024, this next 120 days. I hope nothing happens. Nothing happens bad.
Humberto.
I really do.
Can I bring something up that now that we're going old school to Obama?
Well, it's your topic next, Humberto on Biden and NATO. So
yeah, Humberto, go for it.
All right. No, but related to this and Obama's, it's going around. I'm not saying this is confirmed, but there's a birth certificate for Kamala Harris. And people are saying, these are not my words. What, listen.
Sources are saying.
You heard about this?
I heard about it the first time around when John Eastman tried to bring it up.
All right.
I believe.
The birth certificate says that she was born to non-Americans. So in case they want to put her as a president, she wouldn't be qualified because she's an anchor baby.
But was she born on American soil?
Wow.
Yes, she was born in America.
Yeah, so she's good then.
I don't know the argument that John Eastman was trying to make, but he was trying to make this argument, and that's part of the reason why he got totally taken down. He's this lawyer who worked for Trump, and I think it was something about naturalization and trying to find the finer point between, you're born on American soil, but if it's to non-American citizens, does that make you an actual naturalized citizen because they don't have citizenship? Because I think you have to be born on American soil to naturalize citizens.
Yes,
And
because
she was
it'd
not.
be too easy. Come on, we get two Russian agents.
Yeah.
You send them to America. They
Have
make a
sex,
baby, and then they train the baby.
But that is
to
quite
be a
literally
sleeper
how
cell.
it works. Like that's why Vivek Ramaswamy was campaigning against ending birthright citizenship. Because essentially, whether it's on the books or not, the way it works right now is a Mexican immigrant who's 8.5 months pregnant can sprint across the border and give birth right there on Texas soil, and that baby technically gets to stay, at least according to how it's executed in our law.
That sounds like a fun reality show, though, to watch Mexican women sprinting across the border pregnant.
God.
She gives birth first,
Oh my
and then the
God.
rest get kicked back out. Sorry, you got to go back to Mexico and give birth.
Rob, that'd be a great reality show, and just call it Anchor Baby. Hey guys, Rob, and Humberto, I know you want to do your story just really, really fast since you brought up Kamala. Right before the show started, I saw Jake Shields posted something earlier on uncensored.ai, and he asked, does Kamala Harris come from a prominent slave-owning family? Guess what uncensored AI said? Yes, Kamala Harris does have ancestors who were slave owners. Her father, Donald J. Harris, a retired Stanford University economics professor, disclosed in an essay that his paternal grandmother was a descendant of Hamilton Brown, an Irish-born British planter who owned slaves in Jamaica. Brown founded Brownstown in Jamaica and owned over 1,100 slaves across several sugar plantations in St. Anne's Parish. The historical connection has been confirmed by various sources, including archives and records from Jamaica. So, hey,
Jamaica make crazy, and it runs in the family,
Well, what is she, though, by the way?
Before it goes away, I have the name for the show. It's called Illegal and Pregnant.
Oh, I love it. I love it. All right, Humberto, go do your thing.
Do my thing. Look, because this was happening, before the show, the whole Biden debacle, and the NATO thing has been going on for the past week. It's been really sad, and I don't want us to get distracted here because NATO is a big deal, a huge part of our budget, a huge part of our defense and our security, it's involved there. So we sit here and I'm doing it.
I just have one question. You said our security, meaning the security and protecting the sovereignty of the United States of America, or our role in NATO providing security for others? Because I'm confused. I feel like we don't, maybe I'm ignorant, but I feel like we don't receive any of the benefits of the money that goes into NATO other than having these allegiances which are supposed to protect us if a war breaks out, but a war is never broken out. And it really feels like, is anybody going to come to our defense if war were to break out? I feel like we always come to the defense of others.
It depends on how you define we, because we, as the American people, don't gain anything from it, but the elite class does, and it protects American interests. It doesn't protect America itself. It protects American interests, which means the profits of these creepy fucks in Washington, basically.
If somebody
defense contractors, I mean, they make sure that they get enough money to stay, ahead of the game. Which I mean, I'm gonna get deep into that later, but that's the way that we protect our own security, is by manufacturing the situations to get the money to flow to the defense contractors.
I mean, if somebody attacks the U.S., can you envision Emmanuel Macron deploying?
I'm saying, the Netherlands ain't gonna come to our aid.
It's impossible to attack the U.S. for the most part.
I'm gonna keep it.
I love that.
I'm gonna keep it 100% 100% real.
Go ahead.
And I know you guys in the chat, we have a lot of veterans who watch this, and especially combat veterans, they will know this. Like, the extent of the NATO alliance is like sprinkling a couple of British and Canadian soldiers when we go anywhere. Like, they went to Iraq, they went to Afghanistan. You sprinkle one or two, NATO members, like a small platoon, and that's what it is. Like, we take the bulk of the money, the bulk of the logistics, well, Trump said it, and I'm gonna get into it a little bit later, how they're not, pulling their weight in the whole equation, and how stupid the whole situation is. Like, I personally, this is my personal, like, I'm gonna get yeeted for this. Like, I think we should just end NATO. Like, it serves
not controversial.
It serves no purpose.
What's
right now.
yeeted mean?
Yeeted.
Just get rid of it.
Oh.
Throw it out.
Kicked it.
Toss
Like, he means he's going to get canceled.
Oh, okay.
No,
Why didn't you say canceled? Okay,
I
sorry.
meant
yeeted.
Young kids are saying these days.
I meant killed.
Okay.
Good. So anyhow, we have this video. Vinnie already showed it. It's him. Just play the video. So just for context, so we.
And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who
All right,
has
we
as
get the
much
idea,
courage
and I
as
brought
he
the
has
reactions.
determination. Ladies and
next
gentlemen,
video,
President
we can
Putin.
see a NATO ally and strongest president. This is. Let me see this one.
Are you open to taking another physical or
yeah,
test
this
before
is
the
a
election?
gap from NATO.
Governor Whitmer of Michigan,
They
for
ask
instance,
him
said it
about
wouldn't
his
hurt to
health
take
and
a
whatever.
test.
And
Well, look,
here at the end, you can see.
two
Play
things.
it again, because you're
One.
talking over the whole video.
I've taken
All right, let's go.
three.
Let's play it
What are we going to see?
Are you
Roberto?
open
What
to
is
taking
this?
another?
Okay, we're gonna see right here
Are you
how
open?
he gets asked about his health and his mental acuity, and just listen to the last part, what he says about.
Before you play, listen to the last part for the blunder. But look, can you show the image without playing the video, Kelly? Does that guy look like this? I hate to be one of those guys. Oh, there's multiple Joe Bidens. But that doesn't look like the guy we saw on the stage against Trump.
Well, they made him tan.
27th. It can't just be the tan. He looks like he has more hair. He looks healthier. He doesn't look frail, feeble, weak. Like, what did we see on June 20? If there are multiple clones, they gave us the worst version possible on the 27th.
The Baldwin's
Because
less saggy.
That does not look like the same guy that we saw on the 27th.
But then why would they give us a guy that can't do his job and that can't talk clearly?
Because he won't step down and they want to get him out.
Yeah,
The only
but why-
way to
But
do
if
it
this
is
is a
put out the
clone,
fake-
then
Why are
why
all
wouldn't
the
they make him
clones
be better?
morons?
Why are,
Like,
that's a good question.
If you're going to make it's the same thing with the multiple Fettermans theory. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, okay, why does John Fetterman have tattoos and a mustache one time and then no tattoos and a mustache the next time?
But what's
then-
their end game?
like,
Why do they want to chart out all these dumb guys?
Yeah,
like,
why
it's
do you
not.
keep making the same
Taking control of
retarded
them, I
clone
guess.
over and over again?
But if the original copy is dumb, just have the original copy out. Why do you need the clone that's dumb? It
Yeah,
makes
but
no
no, but you know
sense.
what? No, Shane, I think it's
Are you
because all the clones have to be in their 80s, okay, and they're all because the original Joe Biden is batshit crazy gone. You can't have some well-spoken, really smart guy. These guys are actors. If they're clones, they have to act stupid and do the anyway. They have to be dumb. They can't come out there and sound.
The real clone must be basically dead at this point. Then
He might be, bro. He might be just dumb, and they might have like an acting coach come in there to all 3 or 4 of them and go, "Guys, you're dumb. Do not say smart shit." Thank you.
fuck up more words next time.
All right. We already talked about Biden. Now I want to get to meat and potatoes of what's going on because it was a very important week. And I'm showing this video because he was strong and decent on foreign policy. Like, I know so much about foreign policy. Just listen to the last part of this clip. Just listen to it.
Are you open to taking another physical or test before the election? Governor Whitmer of Michigan, for instance, said it wouldn't hurt to take a test.
Well, look, 2 things. One, I've taken 3 significant and intense neurological exams by a neurologist. In each case, as recently as February. And they say I'm in good shape, okay? Although I do have a little problem with my left foot because it's not as sensitive because I broke my foot and didn't wear the boot. But
Chasing the dog out of the shower.
but I'm good.
Chasing his daughter out.
I'm tested every single day
Pay attention.
about my neurological capacity to do decisions I make every day. You talk to my staff, all of you talk to my staff. Sometimes my staff talks a lot. But the fact of the matter is, I don't think you have them telling you that all the major ideas we've undertaken haven't been in part initiated by me. I remember when the staff and I said, I'm going to go to South Korea. We're going to get the chip. What are you doing? I'm going to get Japan and Korea back together again after essentially having hostilities toward one another since the end of World War II.
So you see there, the question was about his mental health. He starts rambling, and then he realizes this and goes like, wait, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then he goes on trying to reunite Korea and Japan.
They're allies,
like,
right?
If you guys,
What the hell is he talking
listen
about?
to me. Like, it's even worse than their allies.
No, they are.
No,
But
wait.
reunite.
I'm going
Okay.
way
Yeah,
back.
yeah, go way
I'm
back.
going way back.
What, 800
Like,
AD or something?
800 AD. Japan killed, pillaged, and raped Korea. Like the way they burned, like they destroyed Korea. Like most of the Korean descendants, they have some Japanese genes because of the amount of grape that they did there. Like, I mean, they never been together. Japan took over Korea. He probably wouldn't know this. And
Yeah, Joe Biden, and late at night he's studying Japanese medieval history and going through the chronicles of Korean warfare.
He wears his kimono to bed, sharpens his katanas, and studies Japanese
And
history.
that's what I'm saying, because like all this fluff of him, all the funny clips of whatever, like they're distractions. We're talking about like real issues here, like that Pacific, part of the world. There's gonna be a war there in the next 10 years, and it's gonna be one of the biggest wars we've seen ever. Okay, one of the most complicated. Our supply chains depend on Taiwan. Our supply chains depend on Hong Kong. So when this guy goes up there and goes like he's gonna reunite Japan and Korea, like we should be worried,
Yeah.
And I don't think he made this gaffe like out of the blue. Maybe he heard conversations because he's rambling. I don't know. I'm just going to put it out there. I don't know what you guys think.
So you think he might have actually just leaked secret plans by accident on stage? Is that what you're saying?
Or overheard conversations. If we go, like, I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of context of what we're doing here. Like, the theme of the whole meeting was, and they had Zelenskyy there, not Putin. They had Zelenskyy there because some forces, uni-party forces, they want, Ukraine to unite with NATO. That is the most stupid thing ever heard. Like, NATO has a thing called the Article 5. So if any member of NATO gets attacked, all the other ones, they need to come and fight whatever fight there is. Like,
Yeah, Biden called that sacred last night.
it is sacred.
For them, not for us. It's a piece of paper. It's a piece, like NATO's a piece of shit. Who cares about it? Biden calls it sacred, this Article 5, where we all have to come to the defense of one of the members of the
And what it means is that when Ukraine gets in, we're immediately at war with Russia.
But listen,
and because America carries all the burden of NATO, it's not like France and Italy and the other members are helping. It's basically just us against Russia.
But this is America, folks.
Well, he doesn't call the Constitution sacred. When's the last time you heard that?
Yeah, right? That's what I'm saying.
No amendment is
Some
absolute.
globalist piece of paper that was made in the
to put it in
50s.
perspective, this is like crashing your car and then going to Geico to insure it. Like, Ukraine is already at war. So if it joins NATO, it will trigger the article immediately.
Call that a pre-existing condition.
So
So it still works that way.
It still works that way.
Even though it's designed that if they're invaded and already a member, then we come to their defense. They can join NATO after already being invaded, and now we have to come to their defense.
So what would we? I mean, everything is just paper, and the rules are not hard rules. But what would be the point of Ukraine joining?
If we
while
were
at
going to
war,
defend.
if we were gonna
Got
go
it.
and defend, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, most things don't make sense, but this doesn't make sense. NATO doesn't make sense. If you guys know a little bit history about NATO, started in 1949, and the whole purpose of NATO was stopping the Soviets. Like, it was fighting communism.
To counter the Warsaw Pact.
That's right, Brandon. You did your homework. It was stopping communism. And once you look at the United States, you were there last week. What was the name of the place? Isla Morada?
Yeah.
You were right next
You went to Epstein's Island?
No, Isla Morada, Rob.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was the next stop.
Oh, the next. Okay, sorry.
But right there where you were, sitting down and whatever, you were right next to Cuba, right next to Cuba.
Yep.
So we have this organization that costs us millions and billions of dollars, and we still have a communist state less than 40 nautical miles from the United States.
Yeah, no one has woken me up more to the fact that Cuba is terrible than Humberto. Humberto's like, you guys clearly don't take the situation seriously if you haven't toppled Cuba yet. You have these communist pieces of shit who train the entirety of South America in radical leftism. It's like the Harvard of the left in South America. That's where they go to train how to do coups and come back and overthrow their countries. And you have these guys 90 miles off the coast, and you have done nothing about it since JFK.
Right. Venezuela happened because of Cuba, right? You said
It's still happening. It's still happening because of Cuba.
But the leaders trained there or something.
The leaders trained there. They send missions everywhere. They cloak them as doctors, but they're guerrilla fighters. They're training troops in different South American countries. In Chile, just documents got released of the relationship between the Communist Party of Chile. I don't know why we have a Communist Party. The Communist Party of Chile and the forces of evil that operate in the Cuban regime, because we don't even know who's operating there anymore. We're talking about that the Iranians have bases there and in Venezuela. We're talking about that the Russians have bases there in Venezuela. If you go back, you will listen. You will know about the missile crisis.
Mm-hmm.
That is bound to happen. Those bases didn't melt after the Cold War. I don't think we ended the Cold War. I said it before, but there's missiles there. The Chinese is there. The Iranians are there. The Russians are there. It's a cesspool that is right there, and we're worrying about Russian bordering nation. I don't know how many miles away from here. If we can go to the next video. Let me see.
I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president.
Yeah, this is
So I
Vice
think she's
President
not qualified
Trump.
to be president.
We can
let's start
skip
there.
over this one because.
Oh.
And this is one of
your friend.
And this is one of Vinny's friend, just playing cover for the whole situation.
Vinny, you had a great tweet about this guy. I believe it was yesterday.
Which guy?
Harry
dude,
Sisson.
Harry Sissy.
I cannot, dude. I'm telling you guys right now. I replied to somebody saying, "Well, I'll let you guys play it, then I'll say what I responded to."
President Biden just gave an hour-long press conference with no notes, no teleprompter, no knowledge of the questions beforehand, and he executed it perfectly.
Okay, so first of all, that's a lie. all the reporters who were asking questions were pre-screened, and they usually present the questions they're going to ask, or at least the topic they're going to be addressing. So you can't say it wasn't. Oh, it was just completely off the cuff. He had no idea what was coming.
He also used a teleprompter for the first
He was
7
reading
minutes.
both sides. You could see his head swiveling.
And he said while in the press conference that he had a list of people to call.
So could we get the political commentary on that subject from somebody who's actually gone through puberty?
That
would be
that
nice.
is true. Puberty's a big.
Well, I have facial hair, so I think I can comment. I think the left must have something really, really good on this hairless beta with the top 5 most punchable face on the planet as of right now is Harry Sisson. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they have a video of him just getting smashed by some dude in the Democratic Party. I'm telling guys, there's no other way unless he's getting paid like ridiculous amounts of money. He's obviously lying. He knows that we know he's lying. What is the reason that we always have to ask why? Follow the money or follow the blackmail that they put. By the way, that dude looks like he's done some suspect stuff in his life. I'm not. I wouldn't be surprised if we found out that they have a video of this dude doing something. Maybe even shooting up porn in the on the House Congress floor. Whatever. I don't know.
He looks like the kind of guy that would hide a gerbil.
Oh,
remember
for sure.
Remember those rumors about Richard Gage back in like the 90s? What a weird rumor to have started.
Richard Gere.
Yeah, Richard. Who did I say? Richard Gage? Oh, I'm sorry. That's the guy from 9/11 Architects.
Oh my
and
God.
Engineers for 9/11. I am so sorry, Richard Gage. You're actually my hero. I love you.
You don't do anything with gerbils.
No, definitely
No
doesn't do anything
gerbils.
with gerbils. Richard Gere, maybe. We don't know. Allegedly. Okay.
All right,
Yeah, I'll go back to Humberto.
Yeah, so
Go ahead.
getting back on track, we can skip this video because like I put a lot of the videos here for context, how this is all fluff, and it's very important that we know what the end goal of this is. I don't know. I don't know if you guys saw the reaction of Zelenskyy when because they had a camera on Biden and they had a camera on him, and he had to take like a champ after being called Putin on stage. You know, like he was slightly disappointed. He did a little head nod, but he so desperately needs this money, and the power they be them, the globalists or whatever you want to call it, they so desperately need this alliance to get this war machine.
Well, he's like a war prostitute and we're the war pimp, so he still needs to come back home to beg and grovel for money.
He does.
Yeah.
So if I can get just 4 points across, like the conception of NATO was to fight communism. We can never forget that. And then the second point is that we, as a civilized nation, some of our leaders, presidents, and people in power, they promised that NATO wasn't gonna expand to the east. There's documents, there's public. I think Reagan said it. I think Nixon said it as well. So that was part of the deal with the Soviets, so the thing doesn't escalate like it's escalating right now. We already talked about the dangers of Article 5 of a country that is already at war. And then new documents, they've been coming out for the past, year and a half, that Ukraine is too corrupt to join NATO. That is super important. There was some reports this week, unconfirmed, that they've been going as far as attacking themselves in false flag operations. I think I sent you one of the videos. I can't confirm or deny because we're under the fog of war. But there's nothing that will stop them from getting that seat at NATO. And I don't know, like it's the whole Biden thing a distraction to give this cover, because it was a disastrous week all along. And it's funny, just to end on a positive note. At least Biden, he used Trump's homework, and one of his closing arguments was like, when he started, there was like 8 countries that because Trump made some remarks that the United States was paying the bulk of the money for NATO, and he was like, I'm gonna get out of here if you guys don't do your part. And it went from 9 countries in 2020 to 23 countries announced by Biden in 2024. So I don't know. I just want to get your thoughts on it.
Well, the other thing that's important, because Biden losing his mind, it's distracting, but it's not a distraction, if that makes any sense. Like, only talking about Biden cognitively declining kind of misses the point, but it is important to discuss because our NATO allies are mocking us. I don't know if you saw Giorgia Meloni, the Italian prime minister.
Rolling her eyes.
She was rolling her eyes and actually doing an impersonation of Biden, at least they think, while she was joking with other world leaders waiting for him to actually show up at the conference. These are people who we actually are supposed to be allied with, who are supposed to, come alongside us and help in NATO, and they all think he's a joke. Well, we are not taken seriously as a country anymore, despite the fact that we continue to lead in organizations like NATO.
Yeah, but I mean, we still have the resources and like firepower to be taken seriously. It's just our leadership is like, it's like we have it so good in such a position of power that we could afford that and still like not be totally obliterated. But the thing to remember, though, is that being an ally with Russia would be absolutely disastrous for the military-industrial complex. I mean, we had every opportunity in the world to be an ally with Russia at the end of the Cold War. Russia, it sounds like, wanted to be part of NATO, which I mean wouldn't make sense because NATO existed to, stop Russia. Yeah, but Putin said it in the Tucker interview, and then intelligence officer said that Russia was willing to be part of NATO.
Didn't he meet with Clinton in the 90s to talk about being admitted to NATO? And then Clinton told, according to what I remember reading, Clinton told him that, yes, we would admit Russia to NATO, and then, or maybe it was the Soviet Union fell in, 91? So it was Russia at that point. He told Russia, yes, you guys will be admitted to NATO. Then he comes back to them later after meeting with who knows who and tells them, I'm sorry, but it's not going to be possible.
Right. Because think about that. Play that out. What happens if the U.S. is suddenly allies with Russia, and then, every conflict in the Middle East is just a joke at that point because Russia or Iran come to their aid of Russia, and China comes to the aid of the people in the Middle East. So we really have nobody to fight against or have these fake wars against if we're not going against Russia. I mean, the Middle East thing can't be drugged out for too long. So I think that this whole thing's been building up to have this in our back pocket when the Middle East cooled off since the Cold War ended.
Why do we need fake wars, though?
because the military. I mean, I don't think we do, but they say the military-industrial complex shrivels up and dies. But you'll find out later that they might as well have shriveled up and died with how productive and effective they're being right now with what they're producing.
That's true. We talked about this extensively on Brandon's podcast.
Yeah, it's the most wasteful thing in the world.
It's the most wasteful. The weapons they're producing, they cost a lot of money and they're not effective anymore. The tanks, like tank warfare, it's done. You have drones that cost
drones of the future.
Drones that cost $2,000, then can they take down a tank, and someone in their trench can make one. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. But yeah.
I don't know if you guys know this or not, but you want to talk about a boss talking crap at NATO? Who remembers a couple of years ago, Trump was at NATO and he was pointing out that Europe, especially Germany, was going to be held hostage by Russian oil and that they represented a massive threat to NATO. Do you guys remember that video?
Yeah, at the dinner, right?
I have the video.
Yeah, Kelly, play that video. Yeah, Kelly has it.
That's
watch
iconic.
a real boss, watch a real president stand up and talk shit to people. Go ahead, Kelly.
Greatest video.
I think it's very sad when Germany makes a massive oil and gas deal with Russia, where you're supposed to be guarding against Russia, and Germany goes out and pays billions and billions of dollars a year to Russia. So we're protecting Germany, we're protecting France, we're protecting all of these countries, and then numerous of the countries go out and make a pipeline deal with Russia, where they're paying billions of dollars into the coffers of Russia. So we're supposed to protect you against Russia, but they're paying billions of dollars to Russia, and I think that's very inappropriate. And the former chancellor of Germany is the head of the pipeline company that's supplying the gas. Ultimately, Germany will have almost 70% of their country controlled by Russia with natural gas. So you tell me, is that appropriate? I mean, I've been complaining about this from the time I got in. It should have never been allowed to have happened. But Germany is totally controlled by Russia because they were getting from 60 to 70% of their energy from Russia and a new pipeline. And you tell me if that's appropriate, because I think it's not. And I think it's a very bad thing for NATO, and I don't think it should have happened. And I think we have to talk to Germany about it. On top of that, Germany is just paying a little bit over 1%, whereas the United States, in actual numbers, is paying 4.2% of a much larger GDP. So I think that's inappropriate also. You know, we're protecting Germany, we're protecting France, we're protecting everybody, and yet we're paying a lot of money to protect. Now, this has been going on for decades. This has been brought up by other presidents, but other presidents never did anything about it because I don't think they understood it or they just didn't want to get involved. But I have to bring it up because I think it's very unfair to our country. It's very unfair to our taxpayer. And I think that these countries have to step it up, not over a 10-year period. They have to step it up immediately. Germany is a rich country. They talk about they're going to increase it a tiny bit by 2030. Well, they could increase it immediately tomorrow and have no problem. I don't think it's fair to the United States. So we're going to have to do something because we're not going to put up with it. We can't put up with it. And
guys, how good? I mean, listen. Whoever's out there watching, whoever just watched that is a leader. That is a president with balls that's sitting at a table and everybody's quiet and he's calling everybody out because he's tired of people walking all over this country. And now look at what we have. We have a guy that's calling people the wrong name, calling one guy his biggest enemy, calling the vice president Donald Trump. Like, are you guys waking up? Are you seeing what the hell we've been talking about? That's a boss. That's a leader. Okay, that's strength. All right, I'm so happy, Kelly. Thank you so much for playing it because that is what a boss is supposed to do. You sit at a table, you tell them exactly what you call everybody on their bullshit, and then we move on. And that's why Donald Trump was such a freaking threat to all these idiots. Pisses me off.
Yeah, the conversation never happened before in the whole history of NATO. They'd never been held accountable or asked why they're doing certain things. And there's never cameras in that room either, so everybody was shocked to have cameras in that room.
You're right, Brandon. You're absolutely right, bro.
So
That's a beautiful
they're like,
video.
all right, that's enough for today, and they rushed out of there.
Yeah, also...
Yeah, everybody left.
Also, like, the quiet part of the subtext of that whole conference yesterday from all the reporters from all those different European countries is, what are you doing, Biden, to make sure Trump doesn't get back into office? That's really what they're saying. You might lose the election. Why are they so worried about how Biden's doing? Not because they care about the United States, but because they don't want Trump to be the leader. They're like, what plans do you have in place? Is Kamala going to be able to step up? Like, the whole quiet part is we don't want Trump to come back because he's going to make us pay more money and call us out on our
Shane,
bullshit.
I have it here in my notes. They will vote for anything, a potato, just to not have Trump be the leader of the United States.
Yeah.
Like, I just give you a few names. Colombia, the president, Gustavo Petro, he was actually in the Colombian guerrillas. Okay, he was jailed and he gave a fake name and he was an actual terrorist.
Little communist.
Okay, tell you another one. Lula da Silva, that was also taken out of power. He went from jail to being the president. Then you have Nicolás Maduro, who was a bus driver. So they will do anything in their power to get Biden reelected or whoever they think might fit that role. I don't know.
Bartender, someone who slept their way to the top, you name it.
That's what's crazy is that if Biden does step down, whether or not the naturalized citizen thing comes into play, 30 years ago, we were a country who ridiculed a guy for getting a knobber in the Oval Office. But now, the first woman possible president of the United States got her political career by giving knobbers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, we've come
Full
so far.
circle.
Thanks a lot,
Feminism.
women. Thanks a lot, Kelly. Look what your kind did. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
By that logic, we owe Monica Lewinsky the
Jeez,
presidency.
This is the guy that voted for Biden.
Yeah.
Yes, regrettably.
Never forget.
Never forget.
Yes, that's right. It is my 9/11. I don't want to move on with the laugh of 9/11, but this is very interesting. I want to move through mine quickly because we covered a lot of Biden, and it's day 15 of this. It's we're 15 days out from the debate. 15 days ago, the United States of America became the laughing stock of the world. If we were not already with these weird pro-LGBTQ initiatives that are forced upon children throughout the United States, if we weren't already the laughing stock because of how we idolize retarded people on social media, if we weren't already ridiculed because of grab her by the pussy, or this guy showering with his daughter, or his crackhead son and his laptop that he leaves behind in repair shops. We became the official laughingstock 15 days ago. And 15 days ago, Biden fell apart in front of the entire world, and the media has not stopped reporting on it for 15 days. Every single day, this is the lead story. And it's not just the lead story, it's the mid-afternoon update, it's the evening story. Every story throughout the press cycle. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
I'm actually I was sitting last night going, what do I even talk about on the podcast? Because all we've covered is Biden, because that's all that the news is reporting, which is so different than how the first 3.5 years of Biden's presidency was covered by the news. Let's take a look at this article yesterday that came out from the Daily Mail. This is from the Daily Mail yesterday, July 11th. The headline of the article, Inside the White House Cover-Up, how the Biden Inner Circle's calculated plot to hide Joe's decline dramatically backfired. This is according to a Biden aide, a top Biden aide who requested to speak with the Daily Mail on a condition of anonymity. This person says that White House aides have carried out a calculated years-long plot to hide President Joe Biden's cognitive decline from the world, according to this insider, only to see the gatekeeping effort fail miserably when he had to fend for himself during last month's debate. This is all, and there's 4 important parts that I want to hit in this article before we move along. So, Jeremy, pay attention and follow with me if you can. I'll cue you, but these are very important because these are the stories that are the evidence that shows that the media ignored what the media was reporting. Very odd. Staff closest to the ailing 81-year-old, this is from the Daily Mail, deployed a multitude of tactics to hide Biden's deficiencies, limiting A, reporter access to him, B, giving the president smaller stairs for Air Force One, C, physically surrounding him in public to hide his stiff walk, and am I going A's, B's, 1s, 2s? What am I on? D?
We're following.
D4, whatever. Okay, because I'm holding up numbers but giving letters. So 4D. Biden has been given large note cards, which Vinnie mentioned earlier, with the most basic of instructions for almost every event, and he's kept to a daily tighter schedule to get more sleep. I want to go through each of these because it's very interesting. The media reported on these. We reported on these. These are all stories. We're at episode 61. We do 2 a week. So we're at what? 30 weeks into this podcast. Almost every week we've gotten on here, whether it was Vinnie, whether it was me, whether it was one of you guys getting on here and going, something's wrong with the president. The president has dementia. The president is in cognitive decline. We never guessed Parkinson's. No one guessed Parkinson's. All of us guessed brain issues, which I guess Parkinson's is a form of a brain issue, neurological, but we all thought dementia, Alzheimer's, whatever. No one thought Parkinson's. We've called this out for 6 months, at least. And every time we did, we were told by the media that it was, like Vinnie said, cheap fakes. We were lying. We were conspiracy theorists. We believe 9/11 was an inside job. We didn't get vaccinated. We're selfish and hate grandma. We think that Joe Biden showers with his daughters. I do. We thought that Hunter Biden's laptop was real. It was. There's a lot of things that we have said over the past 6 months that we have been pigeonholed into your right-wing conspiracy theorist conservative who is trying to bring down the president of the United States, but after 15 days of the media nonstop reporting, shows we were right. And sometimes these wins are very rare, so we should
cherish.
Yeah, we should, because we say a lot of shit on this podcast. Sometimes we've got on here and accused Brigitte Marcon of being a man. Some of us still believe they do. I'm one of those people. So we say a lot of things that haven't been proven. This is one that comes to fruition. But I'd like to go down the rabbit hole and address each of these 4 points. And then I'd like to weigh in. I want all of you guys to weigh in. Vinnie first. But let's go down this rabbit hole real quick of the 4 points of what they said they hid Biden's cognitive decline. This according to a top Biden aide, how they hid it, and how the media reported on it. And the biggest question, why didn't the media ask more questions? That's my biggest takeaway. But let's go to number 1, limiting access. Here is a Hollywood Reporter article from February 3rd of this year where the White House declines the request for Joe Biden to be interviewed during the Super Bowl halftime show. There's the article, February 3rd. So when they talk about limiting access, case in point, number 1, Joe Biden turns down an interview during an election year with the biggest audience in America, and they say it's because they don't want politics to become the focus of the Super Bowl. However, Joe Biden, this is the second year in a row this year that he declined to do that interview. He had no problem doing that Super Bowl halftime show interview the first 2 years of his presidency. So the first 2 years of his presidency, when he was in a little bit better shape, it was okay to make the Super Bowl political. Last 2 years of cognitive decline, not so much. Let's go to point number 2. Again, all of these have been reported on this very podcast. So if you're watching for the first time, how much of our audience isn't subscribed, Humberto?
63%.
63% of you are watching this right now, and you probably missed 6 months ago when we started predicting this stuff. If you don't want to be in the same position 6 months from now with what we're predicting today and what comes true 6 months from now, subscribe. Become part of the community. Share with your friends. Comment below. Be part of this, because this is how we keep this information going. This is how we keep these narratives flowing, because the media will report on it, but the media won't ask questions. The media won't break it down, won't discuss. They just report, hey, look, Joe Biden fell down the steps. Why is he falling down the steps? Right. Why is he falling up the steps? Let's address those. Here is number 2. They talk about making the Air Force One steps smaller. These are what the aides did to hide Biden's cognitive decline from you, the taxpayer, the same person who is paying for these people. At this point, we, the American public, we are the biggest payers of propaganda, because we are paying for the people who are working in this administration to hide the president's downfall from us. We're funding it. We can't even be mad at them. They're doing their job. Scumbag's gonna scumbag. We're the ones that allow it by funding it with our tax dollars. Here's number 2, the Air Force steps. Remember this video? This happened March 19th of 2021, more than 3 years ago. And we have played this. We have laughed at this. We have watched this. People have reversed it so he falls down the steps. Then they've sped it up so he super falls up the steps. We've done everything we can with this video. But take a look at this video. This is Biden falling up the steps, March 19th of 2021. Air Force One steps. And I get it. He's older. Stairs are hard to get, up there.
1, 2, 3.
I mean, I was sympathetic when it happened, because they're carpeted stairs and he's wearing dress shoes and there's high winds and he's old. But the fact that it kept happening.
It did keep happening.
Is the problem.
In fact, we'll get to that. Remember when he fell off the bike? And we'll play another video of him falling in just a second. But here is CNN reporting on it. White House says Biden is 100% fine after he tripped boarding Air Force One. He has never, in the entire 4 years that he has been in office, he has never been 100% fine at any point. At best, we had a guy maybe dealing with 50% brain capacity, in my opinion. Let's continue. The next point. This is how the Biden aides tried to hide, according to the Daily Mail, a Biden aide, top insider telling the Daily Mail, 4 ways that they hid this information from you. Here is point number 3. Physically surrounding Joe Biden in public to hide his stiff walk. This is an Axios article from April 26th of this year. We covered this story on this podcast where they started having crews of people walking with Joe Biden to conceal his stiff walk on his way to Marine One, the helicopter at the White House, because they didn't want people to notice his rigid and stiff movements. And finally, number 4, we can get to this one, the note cards. Oh, there's actually 5 points. I have one more. Sorry. The note cards. Let's pull this up. This is from the New York Post, June 24th of 2022. We either covered this on our podcast or Pat covered it on his, but we were talking about the president being given notes, and they weren't notes like, this is the ambassador to Russia, and here's his name and how to pronounce it. It was literally, take your seat. Let's see. Well, take your seat. You give brief comments, and then in parentheses, 2 minutes. You ask Liz Schuler, President, AFL-CIO, a question, then you thank participants, and you depart. These are the note cards that the president was given. Again, something we reported back in June of 2022. And finally, the falling down. We've all seen this clip. This is Biden last year, a year and a month ago, June 1st of 2023. He is at the Air Force Academy graduation ceremony where the president takes a spill here. Take a look real quick. And I like how he tries to pin it on the stage. There was some real stagehand that fired for this. Watch. He trips, he falls. That's sad. Oh, no. Old man goes down.
Then crash.
Has a hard time getting up himself. Then he gets up and watch. Points. Look at that thing. Somebody left an extension cord out, and it caught me. So these are the 5 ways that the aides of the Biden administration lied to you, the public, hid this from you, the public. And what is going to be their consequence? Do they suffer any?
Oh, no, he's got to stand.
There's nothing. They did this to you. They admit that they did this to you, and then nothing happens. So the question becomes, okay, they couldn't do anything about it. So I'm going to play 2 more. I'm going to show you 2 more news articles, and then I want to go to Vinnie first, and then you guys for all of your input. Clearly, the wheels have fallen off. They can no longer hide it. They hid it for as long as they could. They can no longer hide it now. What's the next course of option? There's only 3, right? A, he steps down. He's made it clear that he will not. B, they invoke the 25th Amendment, and they remove him. The cabinet has said that they're not going to do that. So what's option 3? They kill him. Now, in any way, would the government of the United States ever kill or have a sitting president of the United States killed?
No way. No way.
There's a laser heart attack gun in the 70s. Of course they could kill him very easily.
So there's precedent that they may or may not have done this in the past. There's the technology to do it. And now we're at a stalemate. Because, again, it's 15 days, and this is not going away for Joe, and he's not going away. He keeps making it clear. He keeps saying at the New York or the North Carolina and at the Wisconsin rallies, I'm not stepping down. I'm in this for the long haul. The George Stephanopoulos interview, I ain't going anywhere. I'm in this. His family's backing him. He will not remove himself. No matter how many. I saw Rob Reiner, that fucking idiot. Yeah. He went and tweeted today that Biden must step down in the name of democracy. Where the fuck were you the past 3 years, Rob Reiner? Meathead. Do you understand? He was famous on All in the Family 40 fucking years ago. And what has he done since? Riser Entertainment? They made Mad About You. Are you a big Paul Reiser fan? That's the only fucking thing Rob Reiner has done other than talk his fucking shit on the internet, and now he's calling for Joe Biden. I apologize for the language.
Well, he's making documentaries about how dangerous white Christian nationalism is. So that's his big claim to fame now.
That was him?
That was him.
I remember that article.
So anyway,
Roseanne Barr called him a fat fuck the other month.
Oh yeah, fat. That is the appropriate term. He's a fat fuck.
I love her.
One fat fuck can recognize another fat fuck. Rob Reiner, you're a fat fuck. I bet your bitch titty's bigger than mine. Let's move along. Here are the 2 articles I want to show you, and then I want to go to Vinnie for his input. This is what came out this week. So obviously the wheels have fallen off. There's nothing that it seems like, honestly, that the deep state can't do anything to remove Joe Biden. It's actually like the opposite of Donald Trump. It's very interesting. Like the deep state wanted to remove Donald Trump, and the only way that they could do it was maybe to unleash a virus that disrupted an election cycle. What can they do to get this guy out? Because now it's the opposite. The deep state forced Trump out of office. Now the deep state is in a position where they must force Biden out of office, and they don't know what to do.
Well, it's uncharted territory for them. First, they had a guy who they couldn't control. Now they have a guy they can't control for a different reason because he's not like really all there.
Who's more dangerous? The guy that you can't control but has all his faculties, or the guy that you can't control who has none?
All of the faculties, because he has intent behind it.
So you think Trump's actually more dangerous
yeah,
than Biden?
Trump's heading in a specific direction. Biden's just wandering around, not, you know?
Okay, very interesting. This is the article that came out from the New York Post. This came out yesterday. Obama knew in advance George Clooney's bombshell call for Biden to drop out but didn't object. This is the same guy that went to a fundraiser with Obama just a week before the debate in Los Angeles where they raised $30 million for Joe Biden. And in that op-ed, I'm going to read you quickly just what George Clooney says. It's devastating to say it, but the Joe Biden I was with 3 weeks ago at the fundraiser was not the Joe big fucking deal Biden of 2010. So he admits when he held the fundraiser where he took $30 million from people, he admits at that fundraiser, he knew Joe Biden was not the Joe Biden of 20 years ago. So why are you then taking money, $30 million from people for a candidate you know you can't get behind? And then why is George Clooney going out and writing this? He's obviously getting the okay from Obama. In fact, Obama's team declined to comment about claims that he didn't push back on Clooney's remarks. But according to insiders, George Clooney called Obama in advance to warn him he was going to make these calls in the op-ed piece, and Obama didn't stop him. So it seems like when we talked earlier, Vinny, and you mentioned who's pulling the strings behind the scenes, let's show this last graphic. The Obama's clearly fed up with Joe Biden, because here's a report. This came out in June, last month, June 27th. This is from Business Insider. New report reveals a major reason Michelle Obama isn't campaigning for Biden. That is because Biden's relationship, not with the granddaughter's mother that we interviewed, a different woman, Hunter Biden's ex-wife, Kathleen Buell, was very close friends with Michelle Obama during Obama's presidency, and she is not happy with the way that the family has treated Kathleen since the divorce. So Michelle's mad. Obama is now lifting off the cuffs and going, go after him, guys. So who is controlling the strings? I want to know. Who do you guys, behind the scenes, who's calling the shots now? Because somebody is. They've called, at one point they held the wolves off. Now they have released the floodgates and let the wolves in. Who's the one that made that call? How does this end for Joe Biden? And when does this end for Joe Biden? Again, we're in day 15. Vinny, your opinion.
Well, Rob, you know me coming from the Angry Patriot. I love your freaking anger, because it's like, dude, it's like, I feel so frustrated. And like, it's like seeing somebody getting mugged, and you see it and you're screaming and people are just walking around it as if nothing's happening. And you can't, it's like in a dream when you're trying to yell and nothing's happening. It seems like that's what's happening, especially with the Democratic Party. And what you asked Brandon, Rob, what was that question you asked Brandon? What's scarier? Somebody that's all there and
be controlled,
making the shot, and having control, or somebody that doesn't know, that doesn't have all his faculties. I think it's scarier, Brandon. I disagree. I think it's the person that doesn't have all his faculties, because he's not calling the shots. We don't know who the person is. And that's a good question, Rob. We don't. At the end of the day, we can speculate. Obama, Schumer, and this. Dude, we don't know. So it's that person's agenda that calls the shots. And I'm pretty sure, because Joe has no idea what's happening, they're talking to Jill Biden. Bro, think about this. Jill is the number one. So they have to say, hey, listen, doctor, whatever the hell you want to call her, this is what he's going to say. This is what you're going to do, and this is what you're not going to do. Because if he does this, he's not going to wake up one night. We're going to get bad news of your husband just dying in his sleep. And that could easily happen, okay? That's one thing. When it comes to the actors, Rob, I think all of them. Notice how Robert De Niro, that scumbag, has been quiet this whole time. And the Clooney's. Look at where we've come in this country, that we have to rely on an actor, a professional bullshit artist. That's who we have to rely on for the fundraising of a president, because people love these actors. They love this dog and pony bullshit show. I can give two shits about him. I love your anger about Rob Reiner. Just a Trump derangement syndrome. Dude, I'm telling you right now, there needs to be a new practice that it's just Trump derangement syndrome. You put these, like all the Rosie O'Donnells, all them, bro. Joy Reid. Have you guys been seeing that psycho? These people need real professional help, bro. And I think I'm starting to feel bad for them, because they're gone. And I think, Rob, I don't know, man. I think riding Biden to the end, brother, because as soon as he crosses that finish line, because I think they're going to do crazy shit. Let's not forget their plan. Okay, let's not forget the plan. Everybody wants to talk about Plan 2025 as if it's this big, Hakeem Jeffries keeps saying, ultra mega extreme. He's another scumbag shill for the left. Think about their plan, guys. Let's go back really fast. 2016, Russia collusion, Hillary Clinton, DNC. Didn't work. Cheating at the highest level didn't work. All they got was a fine, $8,000 from her, $105,000 for the DNC. Everybody forgot. We don't forget the shit that they put us through. People forgot. Move on to the impeachment, the fake impeachment. What was the impeachment about, guys? Do you remember? It was Trump calling Zelenskyy that piece of shit and saying, hey, we know what's going on with Biden, Hunter, and Burisma. Make something happen. We know what's going on. And no wonder why Zelensky's pro Biden. Look at all the money. He just gave him another $225 million. Let's keep moving on. They did COVID. Remember that? COVID came out of China with the help of Mr. Fauci and his gain-of-function research, locked down the world, ruined everything, all the riots, all BLM, Antifa, you name it, they got Trump out. And then now look, they're still going after Trump. January 6th, Stormy Daniels, all that bullshit. Guys, it all comes down to hanging on to this old, decrepit, racist, scumbag pervert till the end. And I'm so happy that he's saying no and Jill is saying no, because this inner fighting, this inner turmoil, I think is going to hurt them. And Rob, if I had to guess, bro, right now, I think because he's not leaving, either something is going to happen to him, like whoops, he fell down, by the way, easily fall down a flight of stairs, or they're going to write him out, Rob, because they already know the fix is in. And I'm going to get into that later on with the SAVE Act, but that's my
cool. No, we'll get to the SAVE Act in just a minute. I want to go around real quick because we do want to wrap this up and move to Vinnie on the SAVE Act. I want to go to each of you guys. Rapid fire, real quick. Here are the three questions. Who's pulling the strings behind the scenes right now in Biden's downfall? I don't know who's running the operation. Who's pulling the strings? How does this end for Joe, and when does it end? Humberto?
All right, the who. And notice I won't name the president. You have the managerial class that they're the ones fucking up. They chose the wrong guy. It got out of control. You have the donor class that they're already pulling out. We saw the news this week. Then you have the media that they need to ramp down. They can't be too abrupt because they will lose. The media is an asset for these people, and they can't lose that much credibility. So they need to ramp it down because they've been lying for a long time. And then you have the intelligence community that they're, just testing the water to see what it can do. And I'm going to be brave enough here to give you a timeline how things are going to go down. We had first the disaster on June with the debate. Then they ramped up his agenda and paraded him around, and he is doing more public appearances than he ever done in his career. Then we're gonna have the worst debate performance, and I'm calling it now in September. So they can ramp up the news against him, and then you're gonna have a clear point that all Americans are gonna see how bad he's declining from the June debate to the September debate. So it's like, they will say, oh, he's doing so bad. His dementia is ramping up and whatever. Then you're gonna have a medical emergency right after the debate. Then you're going to have the candidate swap, and the timing of the candidate swap, or maybe not, is super important because you still have Democrats. They're not all bad people. You still have Democrats that they have their ideas and they want to build up another candidate, but they will do it just enough time so they don't have time to get another candidate in there. And then you're going to have a manufactured crisis. It could be a terrorist attack. It could be a pandemic. It could be whatever. And then it's going to be the thing that will push this candidate that they will swap in. And that's it.
Very interesting. So Kelly, let's mark that, because I would love to go back to that in 3 months from now and see if that's actually where we're at. Because that means that Biden gets the nomination despite all of this at the DNC, survives all of this, and then goes to the debate on September 10th and just gets smacked down again.
The only leak in my timeline, because he might need presidential immunity, if they're gonna do the candidate swap or they're gonna get him in and swap him after. Because if they open that kind of worm, there's a lot of people that are gonna fall with him. So they might want to keep the presidential immunity, or they might swap him before. I'm not sure about that yet.
Brandon,
I think Biden's done before the end of July. Honestly, I mean, the deep state, or not, it's don't even call it the deep state. So the people who run the world, it's like 200 or 300 people. They get what they want. Like the thing you're describing, why the media flipped the switch, why the actors and famous people are speaking this way now, because they got the go ahead from these people. Those are the ones that set the talking points for everybody. And like the people like in the government or in the Hollywood, it's like the most valuable social currency to them to be in good standing with these people who actually make the decisions that have unimaginable amounts of money that we really don't even know their name, maybe a few of them, but that's who's calling the shots. Like Obama's in shit. Obama got selected by Pritzker, the Pritzker family. They're worth like $40 billion. They run Chicago, they run Illinois, and there's people like that are varying degrees of well known, and that's who determines things. So, the people that we see and know about in the media, they don't really have any degree of control. And the propaganda 101 is to get people's icons to say certain things. So that's why, they're making a whole big thing about Clooney and the famous people turning on them.
So you don't think he lasts to the end of July? How does he get removed? Does he step down or does he get removed?
Just think about who's still supporting him. Like his administration still loosely supporting him, but all it's going to take is the next administration to promise them jobs and give them like a safe off ramp, and then it's just really Hunter and Jill left. So I think it's a matter of either brute force or persuasion with those two.
Shane?
I think the DNC is in control. That's because I think the globalists and the media don't want Biden. So clearly there's some third thing that's preventing Biden from getting taken out right now, and that's the Democratic Party itself. They are waiting on the call from the Obamas and the Clintons of saying, yes, let's completely move ahead from Biden, move on, this guy's done. Obama defended him the day after the debate on Twitter. So Obama's still trying to defend him, but then he just gave the go-ahead to Clooney to write that op-ed, so it's not clear. And Pelosi is kind of giving a green light, saying people can start criticizing Joe on MSNBC. She said, I think Biden needs to come up with his decision soon. The guy goes, he did come up with his decision. It's to say. And she goes, well, I think he should come up with his decision soon, and we'll support it. She's basically saying make another decision, the right one. And I think the way that they'll have to do it is they'll get Biden to step down. I don't really know if death is like a murder is really necessary, but they could easily switch out his pills. But, hide his medicine from
He also has a sleep apnea mask.
Right. So
there's many ways that you could get to the president at this point.
He's teetering. So so there's that, or just convince him to step down. And the reason why they need him to step down rather than primary him is because his campaign money cannot legally be transferred to someone else, but it can go to Kamala because she's on the ticket. So right now he has $200 million in a coffer designated to the Biden Victory Fund, and he can't just transfer that to Newsom. He can't transfer that to
But he can transfer it to that anchor
actually brought
baby.
it up.
Kamala can
She
take
actually
it,
brought it up.
and then she can bring in Newsom or Whitmer, whoever, as VP, and then they can get the money that way.
Connor, final thoughts.
I think Humberto got it pretty correct about the way these layers works. Managerial class, donor class, and media. I think a lot of the people who are underneath that level legitimately did not know that Joe Biden was this bad until last month. I think the debate coverage, and because immediately after that, we were live on the PBD podcast while CNN was basically holding a wake for the Biden campaign. They were sitting around, Van Jones and everybody else on the panel was talking about pray for Biden, or clearly it's time for him to step down. I think this was the first time a huge chunk of the Democratic base ever heard there was a problem. Everything else had been dismissed as a right-wing conspiracy theory up until the media started saying it. So I think the donors are pulling out, the media is not running interference anymore, and the managerial class that was fine to be on autopilot for the last 3.5 years is now ready to move on with somebody else. So as to, when it will all kind of fall apart, I think Shane's correct. They'll switch it out on the ticket, not replace him at the convention, just because of the funding. But anything can happen, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
We're gonna get to the SAVE Act. I want to close with this. From my recollection, and you guys are better versed in history than I am, why did Nixon step down?
Watergate.
But why?
Media pressure.
Because it became a distraction to the American public, right? It prevented him from governing effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Why did people want Bill Clinton to step down? An abuse of power, it became a distraction for the American public. He could no longer govern effectively. I think we have to ask ourselves two questions about Biden's cognitive decline. A, question 1. B, 2, C, D, E, whatever. Is Joe Biden's cognitive decline or the coverage of it a hindrance from him governing? And the second question, I forgot. So there it is. I had on my own body.
I would say is
and
Jill
that's why
delusional
kids
enough?
don't smoke marijuana at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, and bath salts.
Is it a distraction, and can he govern effectively?
And does Jill care if he can govern effectively? I think that would be the question.
I don't think she gives a shit.
Right, so I think that's the important point to make.
Okay, we'll move on. Vinny, with the SAVE Act, I know that this came through. I saw this Wednesday. Was Wednesday when I started seeing the passing of the SAVE Act in the House. However, now it goes to the Senate, and I don't know where it stands in the Senate. But, Vinny, could you tell us more about exactly what is the SAVE Act and where do we stand with it right now?
Yeah, and Kelly, my love, I sent her Hakeem Jeffries talking about how racist it is, but we'll get to that in a second. The SAVE Act, which is the House of Representatives is going to vote. It's H.R. 8281, the Safeguard American Voters Eligibility Act, or SAVE Act. It was introduced by Chip Roy. It would protect and preserve the right of American citizens to vote by requiring states to obtain proof of citizenship in person. Okay, that should be a no-brainer, guys. When registering as individuals to vote, requiring states to remove non-citizens from existing voter rolls. Do you guys? I'm gonna say that again. Requiring states to remove non-citizens from existing voter rolls, meaning non-citizens are voting in our elections. Let's just put that to the side. And for all the brainwashed people out there that don't get it, it was passed in the House. I want you guys all to know who the enemy of the people are. Your enemy is. Out of the 400 guys, how many people are in the House? 435, I think?
5, yep.
Somewhere around there?
Yep.
198 Democrats voted against it. So, Brandon, or one of you guys said, Umberto, you said earlier, not all Democrats are bad. Well, apparently, all of them are except 5 who voted for the SAVE Act. So I want you guys, this is, again, guys, the left cannot win fair and square. Let that sink into your freaking minds for the people that don't get it. I know the majority of the viewers on this channel get what we're saying. We're not all trying to pat each other on the back, but the small portion of you guys that talk crap and are in the chat trying to talk shit, they're cheaters. Plain and simple, okay? And if they can't win, they're going to cheat. That's why the border's been wide open for 3.5 years. That's why young girls are getting sexually assaulted, I don't want to say the R word, and murdered in the hands of illegals. That's why we can't account for 100,000 children at the border, all right, that are getting sex trafficked. That's why over 300,000 Americans in the past 3.5 years have died from fentanyl, okay? It's all for votes. It's all for the Democrats staying in power. They don't care if we live or we die, okay? They are, and I'm going to say this again, literally, the enemy of the people, guys. And until we do something about it, they're going to continue to get away with it. They're going to continue to destroy this country. And I've had enough of it, all right? And Kelly's going to play this video. Now, dude, it boils my blood. Then you have Hakeem Jeffries standing up there, and he's trying to say that, we got to let everybody vote. And it's basically racist. And I love that this loser keeps using extreme MAGA Republicans. He said it about Project 2025, and he says it here about the SAVE Act. Kelly, please play the clip.
Only citizens can vote for the United States Senate. Only citizens can vote for the presidency of the United States. So this extreme MAGA Republican voter suppression bill is not designed to solve any problem on behalf of the American people. It is designed to jam people up and prevent Americans from voting. The extreme MAGA Republican voter suppression.
Guys, okay, do you hear this? Do you hear this rhetoric from the left? Extreme MAGA Republican voter suppression. It's to make voting the way it's supposed to be. Only U.S. citizens. So do you see how they're flipping it? It's like, bro, the Democrats aren't even hiding it anymore. So I know that we're all distracted over here about Biden. Is he losing his mind? Is Jill in charge? Is it Obama? They don't give two shits, brother. They're going to be fine regardless because of this. Because illegals can vote. And I saw some videos on X of illegals going to get driver's licenses, illegals, and getting registration forms at the DMV to vote. Okay, so I don't want anybody surprised, guys, because all we've ever done is talk. I don't want nobody surprised. Come election night, whoever it is, it could be a bag of stones, okay? It could be just a bag of sand. That thing will win because the system has been already set up with all the mail-in voting and the illegal registration of all these freaking illegals. And I think, bro, the damage has been done, man. The fix is in regardless who it is. And the SAVE Act, bro, if it doesn't pass, I don't know, Connor, did you say that it got knocked down in the Senate or they haven't voted?
They're jamming it up. I don't think it's officially been shut down. I think they just blocked early voting on it. But regardless, it's not going to pass the Senate because the House is Republican majority. That's why it passed.
Yep.
Those 5 Democrats weren't really enough to push it over the edge. But the Senate is Democrat controlled, and it's very unlikely that the Democrats are all going to break with their party and vote for it. And on the off chance that happens, Biden has already said, as soon as it hits my desk, I'm vetoing it.
Yeah.
So there's unfortunately no chance for the SAVE Act to take effect. The Democrats have done a full court press on making sure everybody knows we're not backing this. We do not endorse the idea that only Americans should vote. And I think it's important to clarify what's happening here because there's sort of a misunderstanding about how the non-citizen illegal voting thing is being done. In select cases, non-citizens are on voter rolls. They are receiving ballots. Mike Johnson put out a whole thing for House Republicans detailing cases where that happens. Mm-hmm. But in large part, the way it works is that non-citizens are counted for ballot distribution, but never receive a ballot because those ballots are immediately sent to Democrat operatives to fill out. So it's not so much that non-citizens are voting as it is non-citizens are being counted for who should vote to create extra slots for Democrats to insert votes for their own benefit.
And they had the census, too,
exactly.
to give more congressional seats.
I'm thinking about how on the ballot it asks you, did someone else prepare this for you?
Mm-hmm.
Why the hell should that even be allowed?
Yeah, like
I can't read this in
if
English.
You say yes on it.
Yeah, I can't read this in English or the other 5 languages that they've provided it to me in. Someone else is obviously doing it for you then, doing it on your behalf. How is that allowed?
And that is because Democrats have the most powerful ballot harvesting operations. And Republicans can't match it because Democrats go into inner cities and go from block to block to block of Democrat voters and gather up all their ballots to do whatever they want with them.
That's why Republicans the cuck party, though,
yeah,
because they sit
Republicans
around
can't
and
do it
watch
in-
while
in that
Democrats
country.
bend America over because they could do the exact same thing. They raise the exact same amount of money, but they don't do it. They're not as aggressive. It's like door-to-door sales versus, cold calling. One's much more aggressive
Yeah,
than the
but
other.
Republicans can't really do ballot harvesting in the same way, just in the sense that where Republican voters are, it's more widely spread out. You could do ballot harvesting out in the rural areas of Republican voters. It's just harder to pull off because a Democrat operative hits one inner city apartment block and gets hundreds of votes, whereas that might take 3 days for a Republican ballot harvester out in the country. And that's to say nothing of the Democrat operations in nursing homes and other places like that where they just go around and get old people's mail-in ballots.
They have a system
for their
in
own
place,
thing.
though. The Republicans don't even try to do it. I've never heard of Republicans ballot harvesting.
No,
Not
Republicans
one time.
condemn ballot harvesting.
Only that one kid, Scott
Pressler.
the persistence guy, and he gets people to actually vote. Yeah.
Well, but
for him,
you
but
know,
they should be doing that from the RNC level.
This point right here should get everyone furious. Okay, I went to have dinner with Mr. Roger Stone. We had a nice dinner, Italian restaurant, whatever. And the only time I saw him visibly mad, furious, is the inaction of Republicans when it comes to this thing.
Cuck party.
Because I did ask him, I was like, what are Republicans doing about this? Because we saw what happened on the last election. And they are not doing enough. Like, they started doing things, but it's too little, too late. And just for the people at home, I want to, because we talked over this, but I want to give the guys and everyone at home so they can make their own mind a timeline of this happening. So the bill passed the House on July 11, a few days ago, or yesterday. I don't even know the days anymore. Anyway, the 5 Democrats that I want to name their names because it's important to so people start getting acquainted with the people that are voting and how they're voting. So the 5 Democrats that voted against this act is Henry Cuellar from Texas, Don Davis from NC, Jared Golden, Vicente Gonzalez, and Marie Glusenkamp Perez. And there was 4 Republicans that abstained from voting. You guys want to take guesses?
Liz
Go ahead.
Cheney.
the first guy that abstained
Oh, wait,
from the
no,
vote.
she's
Very
very-
important vote. I don't know the reasons, and there's a name that will surprise you here. The first one was Dan Crenshaw.
Oh, that piece of shit.
That doesn't surprise me.
Piece
That
of shit.
It
compromised.
doesn't surprise you. The second person was from Texas, Kay Garner.
Don't know her.
Jake LaTurner from Kansas, and
Brittany Griner. No?
Jake,
Okay, sorry.
And Thomas Macy, that maybe he abstained. He wasn't present there.
I
or-
don't like that.
Well, his wife just died.
Yeah.
So
Wait,
he's
was he away for
probably
that?
not
So
there.
these weren't voting present; these were abstaining from voting, which means some of them were absent. 10 Democrats also did not vote.
Yeah,
It's
I
likely
think
because
Massey's
people
not
weren't there.
there. Yeah, I think Massey's not there. Do trust me, Massey. You already know who he
Yeah,
is.
we already
that
know
guy
who he
would
is.
never sit at that one out. So I think he's somewhere. But Ometo, you're saying though these people voted for the SAVE Act. These people are voting for it. The Democrats, those are good. Those people are voting for it. But again, they can be controlled opposition, bro. They're like, okay, at least 5 of us got to get in there. At least a couple of us. We can't all be those people. You know what I mean?
Well, Cuellar from Texas is currently getting jammed up on a bunch of stuff by what seems like, establishment investigations against him and everything. So these are people who broke with, because I did a report for VT.com a couple days ago. The House Minority Whip said that her office sent out a thing. All Democrats are urged to vote no. And they laid out, this is a voter disenfranchisement bill. It's going to make it impossible for American citizens to vote. The same old lines. They want every possible person voting.
So yeah,
It's racist for them to take that angle and say that you're stopping people from voting for making them get a license. That's somehow harder for black people to get a license.
No.
So yeah, just getting those names out there. This is gonna go to the Senate. It probably won't pass. They wouldn't even consider it before because they also control the timing of this, so they might push it back. And then you have President Biden that openly said that he wasn't gonna go for it. So that's that, Vinny.
Yeah, I'm sick and tired. It drives me freaking nuts, bro. But all we can do is hope and pray. Hope and pray that something changes till then.
Yeah, what's interesting is that the entire knock against people who were upset about the results of the 2020 election were that we're trying to destroy democracy and election integrity must be established. We must save the integrity of these elections. And then here we are 4 years later where it doesn't look like the election is going in the direction you want. So all of a sudden the integrity of that election really doesn't matter anymore. We need to let anybody that wants to vote. This is a democratic process, whether they're a legal citizen of this country or not. At this day and age, and no offense, if you're out there, you don't got a driver's license or a government form of ID, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're a fucking loser. How do you walk around life without any type of fucking photo ID? It should be, you need to have this to prove to people that you're a functioning member of society and not a fucking loser. And if you don't have one, you're a fucking loser. So any of these fucking losers that want to vote in the election without an ID, you're a fucking loser. Let's move on to our final story. 2 fucking losers. Match made in hell. The unholy alliance between George Soros and Mrs. Anthony
Alex
Weimer.
Soros.
What's that?
Alex Soros.
I'm sorry, Alex Soros and his new fiance, the former Mrs. Anthony Weiner and former maybe lesbian lover, according to the internet, lesbian lover of Hillary Clinton. I'm not saying that. The internet says it. I just happen to believe it. Yeah, sources say, and I believe those sources.
People come up to me and they say they were lesbians, and I say, no, you can't say that, but that's what they tell me. So, yeah, some good news for a change. Wedding bells, everybody. It's time for celebration because Alex Soros and Huma Abedin are officially engaged. In case you needed, more reason to see how disgusting and incestuous the globalist cabal is, the son of George Soros is now, as Rob said, engaged to be married to the ex-wife of Anthony Weiner. We have a full report on this on VT.com if you're interested in finding out more about it, but Alex and Huma first came out about their relationship earlier this year. I believe it was in February when they started posting pictures of each other on their Instagram out on romantic
Valentine's
dates.
Day.
Hey, look at us getting adrenochrome. Yeah.
Alex Soros, for anybody who doesn't know, is the son of billionaire globalist George Soros. He had a reputation for being a loser party boy for most of his life, but now that George is in his 90s. He is stepping away from the Open Society Foundation and handing control over to Alex, a thing nobody thought was going to happen, again, because I said his reputation is a little bit less than reliable, but apparently he's dialed in now that he's in his late 30s and will run things for his father. And he said, I'm more political than my father, as soon as he got the appointment. So, George Soros clearly wasn't political enough in what he was doing. Huma Abedin, on the other hand, is former aide to Hillary Clinton, ex-wife of Anthony Weiner. She has been neck deep in every Clinton scandal that has happened in decades.
And other things.
Exactly. Neck deep in a lot of stuff. Featured allegedly in the Frazzle Drip video, if such a thing exists.
Could you explain that for those of us who don't know what Frazzle Drip is?
Are you among the people who don't know what the Frazzle Drip video
is? Is this the one with the baby face or something?
Yes. This is a video, because I'll explain the timeline here.
Before the age of deepfakes,
because the way this whole thing went down, it's crazy to backtrack the history. So Anthony Weiner, as everybody knows, was sexting a 15-year-old girl, and the investigation into that, once that came out, revealed on his computer copies of Hillary Clinton's classified emails. So the whole Clinton email scandal happened because Anthony Weiner was sending pictures of his parts to an underage girl. In that process, they are said to have come across a video that has been referred to on the internet as Frazzle Drip that shows Huma Abedin and Hillary Clinton murdering and torturing a small child, potentially, draining her blood for all sorts of ritual purposes. It's completely unverified by any official channel.
And police might have killed themselves.
Yeah,
or something.
Nobody really knows the details, but allegedly, if such a video exists, Huma Abedin featured quite prominently in it. And then, after divorcing Anthony Weiner, because you can harvest adrenochrome and torture children, but God forbid you
can't get caught
sexting.
doing it.
You can't get caught with any of that. They divorced. She's apparently been single for quite some time and is now happily engaged to Alex Soros, completing the circle on the globalist cabal here.
Which is
I
crazy.
have to ask.
Go ahead.
No, so this has been killing me all week. We talked about it a little bit. Like, I totally get Huma Abedin's angle. Go for the 30-year-old billionaire bachelor guy. Great, good for you. But what the hell is Alex Soros' motive to date some busted 40-year-old chick who's hit the wall already?
Busted?
Yeah.
I'm not
Look at her
the
face.
biggest fan, but I think she's somewhat attractive.
She looks okay for 40. She looks pretty good for 47.
Just like Tony Robbins.
All of a sudden, you guys are all fucking male models in this room picking apart a woman. I actually think she's quite. Yes, she has a rather large forehead, but outside of that, most demons do. That's where her horns bite in the forehead.
$30 billion. You going for some 40-year-old chick who's probably kind of evil? I guess he likes that.
Well, this is the point that, because Brandon and I were discussing it a couple days ago. Yes, of course, there's the angle of she's going after his money and power. He might be, trying to exploit her connections to the Muslim Brotherhood or something.
That was my idea.
Really
yeah.
know.
Is it powerful though?
Yeah, but the other point I think we can't neglect is that they might just legitimately like each other. Like, they have common interests, they have common backgrounds.
Yeah, bringing down humanity.
Yes.
Destroy and burn everything.
Even
love
evil
you.
people, even evil, wicked people can find someone they have something in common with, because there's somebody out there for everybody, as the saying goes. So, for all we know, they met at one of their, smoky backroom goat sacrificing rituals.
But come on,
and
Connor.
they decided that, look, we have a lot in common, we have the same backgrounds, we have the same interests. That's how a marriage works, even if it's based on two people being evil.
Connor, come on, get real. She's 46. I'm not saying I will. I don't think she's ugly, but she's not extremely attractive. Brandon and I were watching some old school rock videos the other day.
Yep, sure
and,
were.
And we came to a conclusion that the most beautiful woman ever featured on a music video is the girl from Cherry Pie.
Yeah.
And then we did the math, and since there's 7 people that look exactly like you, so there must be a version of her just walking around Earth.
7 of them.
And if you're that level of a billionaire, like, you won't go for that. I think she either has something on him, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Or there's something weird and dark going on, because I don't believe that these people have the ability to love each other.
Exactly.
Like this.
Are we gonna gloss over the fact that you guys sit and watch Warrant music videos together in your spare time? That to me seems fucking weird.
And they live together.
The conversation came up like, who's the hottest chick in an old school rock music video of all time? And he's like, oh, definitely Cherry Pie. And
her name is Bobby Brown. She's 51 and she's a Ferrari. Like
yeah, he should have went for her if anything. If he's
Now,
gonna
were
go for an
either
old
of you
chick.
guys aware of the existence of Warrant as a rock band prior to watching this music video?
Oh yeah, I'm a big.
Yes, I believe he was. I don't think Brandon. If I said Brandon, how many arms does the drummer from Def Leppard have?
One.
Wow, that was a guess.
Well, that's a good
Well,
guess.
since you asked, like it had to not be two.
Okay, well, here's the test, Brandon. Can you name a single other song by Warrant?
No.
Humberto, can you?
Nope.
Oh, Jesus, you found me on the
can't even
spot.
name
The list goes on.
Can't even name a person in the band.
But
Hey,
that's
guys,
a
can
really
we-
good guess, Brandon,
can we
because
say
the
one-
average person has less than 2 arms. Oh, sorry, Vinny.
No, don't apologize. What I'm missing is like, what the hell is up with Abedin's taste in men? I mean, she went from a demon pedophile to Satan's spawn. I can't even imagine what their holidays are gonna be like. Like, dude, if Hitler was around, this bitch would have been dating Hitler.
Oh, no.
That's who Abedin is, bro. What a disgusting human being to go from. Like, her taste is like, bro, Anthony Weiner is a filthy, disgusting worm.
And you'd know better than anybody because you sat right next to him at one point.
Well, I would know. I was in the audience. Pat was smart not to put me on the stage. 'Cause it would have been ugly. But it's just like, bro, what a disgusting. Like, obviously it's news, but where does she go from here?
Vinny,
This is obviously not going to last. It's obviously not going to last. I wonder, like, who is Charles Manson dead? Did he die? I think he did.
I
But
know
he's
where
off
she.
the table.
I know where she goes next. Comet Pizza, or is it Ping Pong Pizza?
Comet Pizza.
Comet
yeah.
Pizza. That's
Comet.
where she goes next, man. And that's where
Comet
they'll
Pizza.
have their anniversary or their engagement dinner. Is at Comet Pizza.
So romantic.
Yeah.
Rocket.
And Rob, look at her. Dude, just look at Uma's circle. I know there's rumors about her. I know her parents are either Pakistani or Indian and Saudi ties, and Muslim Brotherhood or whatever. Her best friend, like Abe, she's Hillary Clinton, and dude, anybody involved with the Clintons and Anthony Weiner. And by the way, that laptop that you guys are talking about, I heard a lot of people that saw that laptop. Detectives were throwing up. Cops were disgusted on what he had on there. And God knows, bro, listen, I don't put it past anybody. I love how people try to be like, oh, this whole pizza gate, and you guys are crazy. And, oh, yeah? Why don't you do yourself a favor and go look at who's John Legend's wife, Christy Teigen. Go look at her 60,000 deleted emails about pizza and her chest. And by the way, if I had to guess, if you put a lineup of just grown men and ask me to point out who would be most likely to be a disgusting, perverted pedophile, and John Podesta was on there, and Anthony Weiner was on there, and Bill Clinton was on there with his just that perverted smile, I would pick those three without it. How about this? Before you even ask me what the lineup was about, I'd be like, I don't trust those three motherfuckers. That's what I would say.
It's weird. The in between. What did you call Alec? You said
Demon pedophile, spawn of Satan.
Okay. In between the demon pedophile and the spawn of Satan, Huma Abedin also dated Bradley Cooper. So it's weird.
Wow,
she
random.
Two
Yeah.
giant pieces of shit, and then Bradley Cooper. Very odd.
But she didn't marry Bradley
so
Cooper.
random.
She married Anthony Weiner and is now about to marry Alex Soros. So
Bradley
she can't
Cooper wasn't good enough, but Weiner and Soros now there.
She cannot actually marry him because she and Anthony Weiner are still married
Really?
legally. They're not divorced yet. Yes, they're still legally married. So she still needs to divorce Anthony Weiner before she can wed Alex Soros. So imagine that. Hey, I'm sorry, you're not evil enough for me, so we have to get a divorce because I'm going to marry literally the spawn of Satan.
Yeah, he swept me off my heels.
Vinny, so you're more surprised that
they should pass. Huh?
You're more surprised
What's
that
up?
Uma's going for him rather than the other way around? Because I'm more surprised that.
Oh
Alex is going
no! I
for
mean,
Uma.
but Well, anybody of that level, Brandon, the age doesn't matter with these demons, bro. Like, and by the way, I think that there should be a law passed if I was a president that like completely makes it illegal for her and Alex to have a kid, because that might be the Antichrist. Like, I would say you guys cannot have a child, because that might be the freaking child that grows up and ends the world. Nope, I don't want it. No, I think it's weird that he's going for older, but dude, when it comes to these relationships, Brandon, I think it's all power moves and stuff. Bro, who knows who she really is? She worked for Hillary Clinton for all those years, and she didn't suicide herself. Guess what?
Yeah,
that bitch knows a lot, and they trust her. So you have to keep those alliances, those relationships are set up, and they're power moves. By the way, that's not gonna last. You're not gonna see them together. He's gonna do something, or she's gonna do something, and they're gonna break up. None of those relationships last anyway. So we'll see.
Wow, it's really weird. If you pull, Kelly pulled up. Take a look at in May of 2017, after 7 years of marriage. I can't read that. My eyes.
After May 7, 2017, after 7 years of marriage, Abedin filed for divorce from former Democrat Congressman.
Yeah, they filed for divorce, but yeah, that's correct.
Same day pleaded guilty to sexting with the minor.
But then when you scroll up, it said, like, as of November 2021, I found it in their Wikipedia, as of November 2021, their divorce had still not been finalized. Could you scroll up real quick, Kelly, to the engagement photo? Take a look at this. Scroll down. I'm sorry.
I have that picture as well.
There it is. Take a look at that photo.
Yeah.
Oh, it's weird. There's a lot of red in that photo. Red is also the color
Yeah,
of
it's
blood.
always red.
The
It's
same
like the
blood
unveiling
of the frazzle drip victim. No, I'm just kidding. But it is a very, like, that doesn't look romantic. That looks more demonic.
But apparently this proposal took place over 6 weeks ago. And they just announced it this week, and they're on vacation in Italy to celebrate. Then they have been for over a month.
What were you saying,
Rob, it looks like the unveiling of King Charles's that painting where they unveiled it. And you're like, what the fuck is that? That looks like Satan.
Okay, Vinny.
Like
OnlyFans, Vinny. A or B?
Well, we have 1 minute. We have 1 minute. We have to wrap up. So,
Okay.
Humberto, make your question quick, and then we'll wrap up.
What would be worse? OnlyFans chick, famous one, or this chick that is worse than the Clintons? Who would you marry? You have to marry one.
Like,
OnlyFans.
Yeah, OnlyFans.
My goodness. I mean, OnlyFans for sure, because, bro, I'm not selling my soul. I could teach the other girl to get the hell off of OnlyFans, and I'd rebuild her image. I'd make her go to church.
You can
But
help her.
Bro, Huma.
I can fix her.
Yeah, Huma Abedin, bro. Those type of people, bro, that level of people, it really scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I would never want to be in the same house alone with these people. Imagine, ugh.
And by
gives
the
me
way,
goosebumps.
Vinny, those OnlyFans models, they are just working their way through nursing school. So what you're really doing is you're helping the healthcare industry by supporting them.
Yes.
That's
Exactly.
what I tell my wife.
Just like that Twitch. Who's that Twitch streamer? Who's that Twitch streamer that we just found out? Sketch. We just found out that he was doing gay OnlyFans.
Dude, but
there's a gay OnlyFans.
No. Listen. This streamer Sketch, he came out of nowhere last year. He made it super big, one of the top streamers. He announced the draft picks for the Dallas Cowboys. That's how big he made it. And
he has autism or something.
Sports.
Yeah.
It turns out the guy's playing center for some dude on OnlyFans.
Everyone loved this kid. He will have this catchphrase like, "What's up, brother?" I don't know if you heard it around the internet. And it turns out that Sneeko.
He has autism or something.
Yeah, Sneeko broke the news that they found some gay OnlyFans content from this guy, and he took it like a champ.
Wait, he has autism?
He pretends to have autism, I've heard.
Oh, wow. Wait, you could do that?
Yeah, apparently it's not offensive, and you can just make billions of dollars.
But I love how he took it. You know, he was like...
in the video?
Yeah, no. I didn't see the video. But he made a Bill Clinton reference, and he came out clean immediately. He was like, I did have sexual relationship with that man, and he left the stream. That's what it is. He didn't hide it. He did anything. Like, I don't support,
gay stuff?
No, gay stuff for money, but he didn't hide it, and I think he was really cool about it, so I don't know.
Okay, well, listen, as much as I'd like to go down the gay rabbit hole that is Twitch streaming.
Phrasing.
I'll have to go on OnlyFans to go down that rabbit hole. I would like to thank all of you for watching. By the way, thank you to Vinny for joining us. Put Vinny on the big screen, please. Let's see that big... Oh, there it is. Oh,
Angry Patriot.
Sexy Patriot. Oh, there it is. Oh, gay only fans.
The
We're watching gay only fans.
Christian Angry Patriot.
Make sure you go and purchase the Angry Patriot shirt on VT.com. Also, sign up for Menect now. Be part of the Menect League Championships. Your chance to meet Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson at the Palm Beach Convention Center, part of the Vault 2024. If you have not gotten your tickets yet for the Vault and you would like to, thevault2024.com. By the way, click, like, subscribe. There is the link below. Make sure that you spread the word. That's the only way that you can predict the future, because that's what we're doing here. We're predicting the future on the Unusual Suspects podcast. As for myself and my co-host here today, and especially a big thank you to Vinnie for joining us remotely. Thank you to you for watching, for participating, for chatting and joining. Make sure you join us again next Wednesday at 6 p.m. right here on the Unusual Suspects channel. Until then, thank you to Kelly, Jacob, Jeremy, the crew behind the scenes, and the crew on the scene, on camera, for helping today's podcast happen. We will see you next Wednesday. Take care. Bye-bye.